Hmm? So this fits in here, I guess. It's supposed to just slide down. That's the screen. The Apple or CarPlay adapter. Wiring harness. Aux. GPS. USB and the aux extender. And then the main wire harness and the video in. So first thing we need to do is take off this center boot for the shifter. Just lift up on the top two corners and pull up. So the next part you have to do is pry up along this silver edge on all three sides and across the top, and the trim for the center console will come up. Right, so you just use these plastic trim tools, go along, pry it up on all sides, and gently lift up, and the whole piece should come up. Don't pull too far up because there's cables connecting on the bottom. Just want to see where they are, and then disengage those cables before you take the whole thing off. You can leave the boot on and slip it through once you get all the cables disconnected. So the next part you want to take off is this center plastic trim for in front of the CD tray. So there's going to be 4 clips, one on each corner and a couple down here on each side. So you're just going to pry on each side to get this plastic trim off. And so when one side comes off, just pry on the bottom. Sometimes you can pull it from the bottom this way, but see, gently pry it out from either side. You might have to switch tools to be able to. So these 4 pins are in each corner of the trim piece that are just off this center part for the dashboard. And there's screws along the bottom edge of this when you open up the glove box. You're just going to look for screws along the bottom. There's going to be screws along the bottom here and this whole piece will come out once all the screws in. There's one on this side as well, so you have to take this side cap off, and then you'll see one screw in there. It's a T20 Torx bit, so that should be the same for all of them. Some of the screws might be different length, so just keep track of where they are. So after you remove all these screws from the center part, take the 4 screws on the bottom iDrive module out, and this whole thing was gonna just slide out. Just leave it right here for now. And there's a couple screws on the bottom here that we're looking for to get out of the center console part out. So let's show that. So in order to get this front face out, because we're having trouble clearing the center shifter, just lift up or slide this control panel up and then to the right to the passenger side, and it should free out. And then you have one ribbon cable plugged in, which was originally here. Just took that out. But you see how these notches catch in these holes? So when you put it back in, you're gonna put it to the right more and then slide to the left to put it back in. All right, so next, after you get the radio unit out, you're going to lift up on this lever to release the main harness from the back of the radio. Once it's all the way out or lifted up, then you should be able to pull straight out, and that's your main harness where you're going to use to connect to the one that's applied. One thing that you're going to have to change is the green cables is the optic cables for the car bus, and you need to remove them from here and put it into the new harness that you got, and we're going to insert it back in, but we'll show that in a later part of the video. So once you remove all the screws underneath this edge, and again there's one on this side on the side of the vent, there's screws along the top here, so there's 2 that are on the top facing or going up. There's one underneath where the key plastic trim is, that is behind the plastic trim for the key holder. That needs to come out. The key holder will come out, and then there's a screw behind it. So the original key holder is like this. So you pop the key holder, the plastic key holder out, and then there's one screw over there, and that should free up this side. Once you get this out, just be careful with the vents. There's 2 connections, or actually 3 connections. One for the start-stop button, a lever-based connection, which you're going to fold the lever down, pull out the connector. Same thing for the white one, pull down the lever and pull out the connector. So the next thing you need to do is remove this plastic trim for the vents. There's one screw here, not the one to the right, just one to the left towards the steering wheel. That one is the screw for the vent. So you take those out, and then it should be just retainer clips that pop out. So once you pull this out, you're going to see 2 connectors, a black one and a white one. You just need to undo those. There's a small pin, so just get a really small flat screwdriver, put it on one side, and lift out the connector for both of them, and place that to the side. Next thing you need to do is remove this screw and this screw for the center unit that is the factory iDrive. Right. You can't see. So when you take this top speaker plate out, be careful, there's one cable. Just need to undo that. It's on the far right corner where the sensor is, right here. Once you take these front 2 screws off, remove the speaker grill, undo this one cable that's on the far right corner, and then there's 2 screws that hold the iDrive unit in place. Those 2 screws out, just be careful not to pull it completely out. So once you remove the back 2 screws and the front 2 screws for the iDrive unit, there's a leather cover that slides forward towards you to release this cover, and they're just held in by sliding clips. So you're just going to literally pry forward until it slides out from these notches. And once that's out, there's 4 screws on each corner of this plastic cover that you need to take off. So that comes off. These 4 screws are very small, so you will need a very small Phillips head screwdriver. Then you can take this entire unit out. There's going to be a back plate on this side where it has 2 small screws that just hold these cables in place. You need to take those 2 small screws out, so it looks like this, just holding these cables in place. It's a retaining clip, and it's just held in by 2 screws. You take that out and this plate should come out. And then you're going to remove this purple cable, this black cable, just 2 clips on each side, pull straight out. And there's a very small clip right here for the orange and black cable on this circuit board right here that needs to come out. Once that's done, this whole unit should pop out, or this cable bundle should pop out. That's what we're going to attach to the new screen.